There was an unkempt skinny guy sitting in the corner, looking lonely, sipping a Coke, and sporting a 1,000-mile stare into nothingness. I introduced myself. With a sheepish handshake, he said, "I'm Joe Walsh." Joe Walsh of the Eagles? Yes, it was. On the other side of the room, E Street Band saxophonist Clarence Clemens had that always cheerful look. Not far away, munching on some food, was Dr. John, the king of the piano, the pride of New Orleans. And the hits just kept on coming in the magic room. Nils Lofgren, musician supreme, the one and only Billy Preston, drummer Levon Helm, bassist Rick Danko, and drummer Jim Keltner. Amazing, I thought. Ringo had made magic, assembling an all-star lineup of musical greats to supplement his limited repertoire. Could Ringo alone sustain a McCartney-like concert for 2 hours or more? Probably not. But in the process of putting together this extraordinary collection of artists, he had created a knockout concert. It was more than just a casting call to help rejuvenate stifled careers of fellow artists. For the ex-Beatles drummer, this was, in fact, the beginning of redemption. And it was an experience he was delighted to share. I walked outside under a large canopy. It was still raining. I sat down at a picnic table and started reflecting on this strange and sensational reunion between the two of us. It don't come easy. It didn't for Starkey, a.k.a. Ringo, whom I watched slowly walk down a narrow metal staircase, dressed in a bathrobe with a towel draped around his neck. He waved tenderly and smiled as he prepped for Act 1 of the show. After all, the drummer had been given up for lost before he finally found a way to surface from oblivion. And that's why the magic room was so magic, and the evening so special. It was especially so for the men assembled in that room, the flesh and bones of stars whose spotlights had faded, legends scattered to the winds by a changing business. Some of them, like Ringo, were felled by substance abuse, others by fate. No surprise was it at all that some of the band members in this most unusual green room were in the process of resurrection. Lazarus would have been proud. With a little help from his friends, and they with a lot of his own help, Ringo was unselfishly prepared to chart the course for the rest of his career. It was an act of grace, a display of kindness. It was part of the fiber of the boys who, back in the Liverpool days and nights, made the joy and dreamed of the music they could make and the stories they could tell. In an era of celebrity misfits and coarse role models, the four dreamers from so long ago still stand out, for their character as much as their intrigue. And there is plenty of that, as you will soon learn. The road to glowing stardom and success is paved with more than gold. It is hard and scathing, and sometimes treacherous. We all know what happened at the end, which to this day has been an endless ending to an unlikely story. But the story of how Richie and his three mates came to that point really starts at the beginning. And I'm talking here about the exit from the womb and the arrival in a dark, dank, and battered city where all hell was breaking loose in a daily struggle for survival. It was there, amid the crushing bombs and abject poverty, that the story of the Beatles really began. On the 1989 stage in Wisconsin, Ringo feigned a loss of memory as I quizzed him about the touring days. After a few minutes, his mind seemed to stir. His eyes lit up. We recalled together the crazy nights, and the crazier crowds, and the tumult. At the end, he just smiled. "Remember, Larry?" "Yes." "We were just boys then. Just boys." "Just boys," he added for emphasis. The boys became men. And the men endured in a way that few world icons endure and evolve, making an imprint larger, in some cases, than the tenure of some world leaders. The spotlight moves 1,200 miles east to 6